Have you ever walked into or drove up to somebody's house just by looking at the house and made the determination that they've got money or they don't have money? You ever made a phone call and in a really short period of time come to the conclusion that this isn't a very nice person? This is probably going to be an uphill fight. Of course you have. Your brain is wired that way. In fact, whether you know it or not, you're making a conscious decision about what you think about somebody inside the first second, let alone the first few minutes. What I'm talking about right now is the warm-up phase of your sales process. It's the most overlooked part of a sales process that there is. It might be more important than your actual product presentation. But you have to understand and realize that the prospects that you're in front of, they're forming those same snap decisions that you do about them. So you've got to be super conscious about everything that's happening in that first 2 or 3 minutes that you're meeting somebody for the first time. I understand that it's different if you are meeting somebody on the phone, on a video call, or face-to-face. If you're meeting somebody face-to-face, then you've got more tools. You've got body language. They get to do a handshake with you. There's tools that you have. If you're meeting somebody on video, heck, if you're meeting somebody on phone, your list of tools that you get to use are way smaller. And so you have to be even that much more hyper conscious about what's going on during this warm-up phase. In my opinion, an amateur, they look at the warm-up phase as, all right, this is a few minutes I got to get through at the beginning of every appointment. I got to get the tension down so I can get on to what I'm here to do, sell them something. A pro, they are hyper focused on every little thing that's happening during that warm-up phase. From their appearance, and I'll just start with that one for a second. I know that we've got into a time lately where dress code has went dramatically down. I mean, we're just one step away from wearing sweatpants to appointments. I guess the point I'll make to you on that, each their own. You know, I have a 10-year-old daughter and she listens to different music than I listen to. Yes, as we're younger ages, we kind of evolve with the fads. But a lot of times in this business, we're dealing with seniors. They're still listening to the same music they used to. A lot of them are still wearing the same clothes that they used to. And I can promise you one thing, they still have a different degree of credibility and respect for somebody that's dressed up. Each their own. I'm not here to sit and make a big deal about this, but I can promise you that you never hurt your sale and your chances of a conversion by dressing too nice. But you also have to be conscious of your overall demeanor. Your handshake, how strong is it? You have to be conscious of your body language. Those are just all things that if I'm face-to-face with somebody, I have to be super conscious of. And again, if I'm on the video call, on a phone, I better be super conscious of the couple tools I have left that I can use. But in general, the point I want to make to you is that the warm-up phase is a part of your sales process. It's a very important part of your sales process. And every step in your sales process, there should be a goal that you're trying to reach in that sales process. There should be a plan in which you're going to go about reaching those goals. Some of the things that I'm trying to accomplish every time I meet somebody for the very first time. Obviously, yes, I'm trying to have likability. I want them to feel comfortable with me. I'm trying to build trust. I want to be a trustworthy person in their eyes. A big one, I want to build credibility. One of the things that really is the best tool you have for credibility is curiosity. Ask questions. Find out about them, care about what's going on in their world, what their interests are, what's going on today, what's going on big picture in their world. You have to create slowly, but you have to create some authority as you're going through this process so that when we transition to the next step of our sales process, they see that coming. And we've already got that authority hat on. So when I am going through, and I'll just say this, it should be a planned out structure on every single warm-up phase that you do with every prospect. I've got 3 things myself that I'm going to ask every single time during this warm-up phase. Hopefully, I'm not doing it on the step. Hopefully, I'm doing it as I'm walking into their home. If you're on a video chat or on a phone, obviously you don't have that luxury. But I want to find out, what do they do for fun? Tell me about your hobbies. For one, this is a great place for me to connect with them, find common interests. But why do you think also that I want to find out what they do for their hobbies? Well, if I find somebody that their hobbies is playing chess or checkers at the community center, I got probably a pretty good guess as to what their mobility is. Probably got a good clue as their health. If they tell me they're playing golf 4 times a week, I know already I've got somewhat of a healthy person. The next thing I want to find out is their career. What did they used to do for a living? Why do I want to know that? Well, It might help me depending on what your offerings are, but it might help me to figure out what the retirement plans look like. If I find somebody that worked for a big corporation their entire life, they probably have a big 401k or an IRA. I find somebody that's self-employed, retirement accounts, they're not qualified. And finally, I want to figure out about their family. I want to figure out how many kids they have, how many grandkids they have, and where do they live. Why is that important? Well, I'm going to know real quickly that if Bill and Martha have a daughter that lives across the street, I better make sure that I'm finding out real quickly in my fact finder, does their daughter that lives across the street help them in all of their financial decisions, or do they make those decisions on their own? Because if I find that out and I go through my entire presentation, I didn't ask that question if their daughter makes financial decisions, then all I'm going to get by the time I'm done presenting is, well, let us talk to our daughter. You find that out, you might as well pack your bags and go home and not come back until the daughter can be there at the appointment. You just wasted a whole bunch of time and you told them everything you had to tell them, you sold them everything you had to sell, and now they're going to relay that at about 30% to their daughter. What do you think your closing percentage is going to be? When you do your warm-up, you've got to have structure to it. It should be the same every single time. You have to have goals in which you're trying to accomplish. And you have to be super conscious about every little thing that's coming out of your mouth, how you're saying it, how you're coming across to them, and most importantly, are you making sure that at the end of it, you're coming across as credible, with authority, somebody that they can trust, somebody that they like. Be conscious about these things, and I can promise you one thing. If you do this as serious as you are about what your presentation looks like when you're in an appointment with a new prospect, I guarantee you this will make you more money. Look forward to seeing you in our next video.